Alright boys, welcome back. It's time for more riveting content. We're now going to discuss subnet classes. This is part 2 of our fundamental IP address videos before we start getting into the command line stuff on how to manage Linux networking. So let's go ahead and get started. Past Steven, please take it from here. So in the last episode we talked about subnet masks. We're going to go ahead and talk about subnet masks again. Let's look at a theoretical network here. This is a pretty simple home network, right? You have the internet. Somehow the internet gets into your house via your home modem. The reason it ends in .1 or .254 is because of the IP protocol. Remember, a protocol is a set of rules that define how things communicate. One of those rules is how many hosts can exist in a network. So how do we figure out how many hosts can exist in a network? The answer is simple, of course. We look at the subnet masks. So let's go back to our example network. In our example network, the subnet mask is /24. This basically means that in this network, we can have up to 253 devices, right? The reason for 253 devices is because the very first IP, 192.168.0.0, is reserved to define the network, and the very last IP is reserved for broadcast addresses. What is a broadcast address? That's for another video. Subnet classes are basically ways to define how many hosts are available in a network. So Class C networks have up to 253 hosts. It's technically up to 255 IP addresses, but again, the very last IP address is always reserved, or a network address, and the very first IP is always reserved. 255 minus 2 is 253. Let's go ahead and dive deeper into the subject of subnet classes. We've already kind of went over them briefly. Let's explain some more. Welcome back to another episode of Low Spec Labs. In the last episode, we talked about subnet classes. We're going to go into that a little bit more. Generally, there are 3 types of subnet classes: Class A, Class B, and Class C. Class C networks have 254 hosts available to them. Class B networks have 65,536 hosts available to them. And Class A networks have 16,774,215 hosts available to them. Why so many available hosts? Well, like most things in life, it depends entirely on what you intend to use it for. Most home networks are Class C networks because generally in the house, even if you have a bunch of iPads, laptops, phones, computers, you're not going to have more than 254 networks. Most businesses still use Class Cs, and what they'll do is they'll have multiple Class C networks separated either via VLANs or via routing. If you're a big enough company, you're probably using private Class B networks. What is a private network? That's another video. IP addressing and networking can become a pretty deep rabbit hole, and I'm trying to figure out how deep we should go. Can't go too deep. Now let's go ahead and talk about IPv6 versus IPv4. What are the differences between those two? Well, you'll find out in the next video. We're about to hit a couple minutes here, and I like to keep each video concise and on exactly one subject. Since TikTok allows longer videos, I figure we'll compromise. We're going to have more than 60 seconds, but these videos are only going to cover one thing at a time. So that's it. Talk to you boys next time.